What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the CombatCast. So today, some shocking news out of the combat sports community. The renowned English Muay Thai fighter and kickboxer Iman Barlow has suddenly announced her retirement at the age of 30. Now, her reasons for announcing her retirement stems from being unable to find fight opportunities, as she is currently under contract with the infamous One Championship. Now, here's the headline from the Beyond Kick article, which broke the news. Iman Barlow announces retirement due to not getting fights in One Championship. I've asked to go my own way, so I don't have to retire, but this was declined. So recently, One Championship has had a track record of not really prioritizing their kickboxing and Muay Thai divisions. Kickboxing really is where they've had trouble. We've seen the case of Hiroki Akimoto, the former one bantamweight kickboxing champion, not really getting, a shot or a chance to fight after losing his title to Pet Tanong back in 2022. Yeah, he was inactive for all of 2023, and it wasn't until this year that he's actually had a fight scheduled. And there's been a mass exodus of kickboxers from One Championship who are actually going to be mentioned in this article. But yeah, Iman Barlow's only 30 years old, and the fact that she retired was because she wasn't getting any fights in One Championship speaks volumes about the inner issues going on inside the promotion. So let's see what the article says. Iman Barlow, 30, has announced her retirement from combat sports on social media. In the emotional 6-minute video, she reflected on her 26-year-long spanning career and her love for the sport. From a young age, I sacrificed a lot in order to train, fight, and become the best. Now, I'll show you the video right now from her Instagram.
And please welcome to the white corner from Melton Mowbray, the reigning and defending world champion, the pretty killer, Iman Barlow!
She's so good, she's become the youngest person ever to become a British title holder in Thai boxing.
Me and the mother think there is nobody at her age that could beat her.
She's determined to carry on fighting and win more titles.
I've dedicated my whole life to Muay Thai. I never knew what I wanted to do. I just grew up training and fighting, and at some point there was just a mutual love for the sport. It was all I knew. I started fighting when I was 4 years old, and I never looked back. I'm now 30, which people say is too young to retire, but I don't think they realise that I've been involved in this sport for 26 years. Some may laugh and say, how is that even possible? But it's true. From a young age, I sacrificed a lot in order to train, fight and become the best. Waking up in camp at 5:50 a.m. and out the door and running by 6 a.m. and doing an hour and a half's training before I make my way to my full-time job. And by 5 p.m, we do it all over again. Training 6 mornings and 6 evenings a week because we don't miss a session. Always tired, sometimes moody, although some people would argue always moody, but that was because when fight camp started, nothing would get in my way. I couldn't think about anything else until the fight was done and the world would be lifted off my shoulders as soon as my arm would be raised. I had over 100 junior fights without a loss and started my adult career fighting A-class at 12 years old. I had a total of 128 fights with 120 wins, 3 draws and 5 losses. The road has not been easy, like they say, it never is. There's been a lot of blood, sweat and tears. I'm lucky because it's usually not been my blood, but it's definitely consisted of a lot of sweat and even more tears. You'll know what I mean if you've met me. I'm an emotional person. But I'm happy to say, looking back, it was always worth it, even though at the time it was difficult to see. I have achieved so much, and Muay Thai has taken me to some incredible places, and I have met some incredible people along the way, my journey. I've been to places such as Perth, twice, Melbourne, Thailand, China, Singapore, Latvia, Norway, Sweden, Poland, Slovakia, Holland, Switzerland, Ireland, Tenerife, Spain, Mallorca, France, Las Vegas, Canada, Philadelphia and Connecticut. I've travelled, but don't be fooled, it's always business, not sightseeing. The job was in hand to win, and that's all it's ever been. I prepare, train and fight to win and nothing else. It's the little details that were always important and people don't realise. Make sure we're there with enough time to prepare, take into consideration the travel, the time difference, and make sure I have all I need. I always prepared as best I can, so I never had an excuse. Even if I was injured or ill, I would just try and recover and work around it as best I could. If I had agreed to the fight, I never wanted to let anyone down, especially an opponent. So I probably fought sometimes when I maybe shouldn't have, looking back. No matter how hard camp had been or what problems arise, I would never use an excuse. Fighting as often as I could and taking every opportunity offered to me was important, and it made me the fighter I am. I would take fights on different rule sets just for an opportunity to further my career and get my name out there, but most importantly, keep me active. I once fought 8 times in a year, and it was the best thing I ever did. Fighting regular gave me a purpose and gave me a routine, structure in my life that I never knew I had. After a fight was over, I'd enjoy myself for a week and be craving the next time I could get back in the ring and just perform. That love isn't as strong as it used to be anymore. With not fighting as often, but still training full time, just waiting to get a call is so hard mentally. In the last 4 years, I've started endless fight camps on a maybe, but I just kept convincing myself it was a fight game, just to get on with it, and something would always come through. But in all honesty, it didn't really. How can I keep competing at such a high level with gaps in my career? 1 year out the ring, fight. 9 months out the ring, a bigger fight. I've asked to go my own way so I don't have to retire, but this was declined. This is not what I am about and not what I stand for. So it's time to take the stress away and retire on top the way I want to. It is a shame that certain situations and certain fights didn't happen, because they tried to a lot of times, believe me, but the world just did not align. Maybe it was a sign, maybe it wasn't. I guess we will never know. I am in great health. I've had a great career and I have got a great fight resume. I've achieved a lot of things and hopefully opened doors for others. Female Muay Thai is at its best and we all just keep getting better and better. It's crazy. One thing I do want to say is that I'm proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself and I never gave myself enough recognition. So from me to me, awesome job. There are so many people I want to thank who have been part of my career. Don't think I forgot who helped me. I remember every single one of you. Thank you to my dad for dedicating his life to training me. My mum for being amazing and my whole inspiration. Growing up, I wanted to be just like you, a fighter with belts. I hope I've made you proud. My younger brother Ty, my forever training partner, my best friend, thanks for making me laugh and sorting me out when I need it. To all of Team Assassins and all of my training partners, thank you for everything. I've seen a lot of people come and go during the 26 years. Now it's time for me to take a step back.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a decorated fighter like Iman Barlow, you know, she's really got a handful of accolades. You know, prior to one championship, she was a former WKA bantamweight, WPMF bantamweight, Lion Fight bantamweight, and Fusion bantamweight, and WBC Muay Thai international bantamweight champion. And that's just in the pros. In the amateurs, she was also pretty decorated, you know. She's a former World Games gold medalist and IFMA gold medalist. So yeah, you know, she is probably, without a doubt, the best female British Muay Thai kickboxer of her era. And it's sad that she had to end her career the way she did because of a promotion's handling of her. And gosh, I sure hope that this retirement isn't final. I hope it's just her way of powering out of her contract. But yeah. Now, as we see here in the article, it states, as the reason for her retirement, Barlow states a problem all too common in one championship: inactivity. Recently, many athletes have voiced their displeasure with one's infrequent fight offers and have gone different ways once their contracts were up, such as David Kiria, Typhoon Ozke, Daniel Puertas, and Ilias Enahachi. And there's also a few others also who weren't mentioned in this article who have gone on to fight in other promotions, like K1, for instance, who one still considers as a rival promotion. And continuing the article, not an option for fighters still locked into lengthy contracts with no way out. And here is a quote from Iman Barlow. Fighting as often as I could and taking every opportunity offered to me was important and made me the fighter I am. I would take fights under different rule sets just to further impress my career and get my name out there. But most importantly, keep me active. I once fought 8 times in a year, and it was the best thing I ever did. Fighting regularly gave me a purpose and gave me a routine and structure in my life that I never knew I had. With not fighting as often, but still training full time, just waiting to get a call is so hard mentally. In the last 4 years, I've started endless fight camps on a maybe, but I just kept convincing myself it was the fight game and just to get on with it. And something would always come through, but in all honesty, it didn't really. How can I keep competing at such a high level with gaps in my career? I've asked to go my own way so I don't have to retire, but this was declined. This is not what I'm about, or not what I stand for. So it's time to take the stress away and retire the way I want to. So yeah, so I guess retirement wasn't Iman Barlow's first choice, and she wanted to part ways with them. But as we've seen before, the one featherweight kickboxing champion, Chingiz Alazov, also made a statement that he wanted to part ways with one championship, but they said something along the lines of, oh no, we're gonna negotiate with him, so, which is basically code for, nope, we're not gonna let you go. And so yeah, one is basically clamping down on her. They're not gonna let her go, which is really not cool, okay? If you're gonna lock her down, at the very least, give her fights. I mean, in the 2 years she's been with one championship, no, actually, I'm sorry, excuse me, she signed with one championship in late 2019, so in the 4 years she's been with one championship, guess how many fights she's had? 2. That's how many fights she's had in a span of 4 years. She's been signed with a promotion. She faced Daniela Lopez at 1 Lights Out on March 11th, 2022. And then she faced Ekaterina Vandaryeva at 1 Fight Night 8 on March 25th, 2023. So yeah, that's all the fights she's had in one championship. And for her, it must be really frustrating, you know, to be told that you're going to be fighting at the highest level, but you're only getting 2 fights in the 4 years you've been with said highest level. It has to be really frustrating. Like, no wonder those big names, David Kiria, Typhoon Uzcan, you know, no wonder why they just ran for the hills after the contracts ran up. But I don't know how many fights Iman Barlow had left. But even then, say she had one fight left. God knows how long she would have had to wait for one, you know, to announce her fight, to give her a fight. For all we know, they would have waited 1 year to find her an opponent, and, like, get her opponent to agree to a fight, and, you know, get her to agree to a fight. Like, it's so complicated when it comes to matchmaking in one championship, because the one championship matchmaking team also has a track record for piss poor communication, and that's what's so messed up. Same with the Jonathan DeBella debacle. You know, Chatri Sidyadtong said that Jonathan DeBella wasn't defending his title, yada yada yada, that his team reached out to him, but DeBella wasn't, you know, returning their calls. But DeBella came out and defended himself, and he said, hey, that's not what happened. I tried to reach out to your guys, but your guys wouldn't like answer me, you know. When your guys gave me a date, gave me an opponent, a place, I said yes, they wouldn't proceed. So yeah, I'm more inclined to believe Jonathan DeBella, and it's really unfortunate what happened to Jonathan DeBella with him missing hydration and getting stripped of his kickboxing title. But anyways, back to the point. And yeah, Barlow, it's just so sad, you know, to have to retire just so you can get out of one championship. Oh man, you know, when I first read the headline, I thought, you know, maybe it was because she'd lost her passion for the sport, and maybe it is the case. You know, fighting in a place like one can cause you to lose passion for the sport, because the structure and the management has to be terrible. You know, you're some fighters, they're given terrible matchups, and you wait God knows how long for a fight, you know, because, like, okay, take the UFC for example. You fight 2, 3, maybe maximum 4 times a year, whereas one, it's like you're lucky if you even get to fight 2 times a year, and maybe you're a superstar if you fight 4 times a year, which is very hard to come by. But right now, in one championship, if you're a kickboxer or a Muay Thai fighter, it's so hard. I don't know why. It's so impossible to get a fight. Yeah, Chatri Sidyadtong said that this year, 2024, that they were going to focus on their MMA division. But to be honest, I don't feel like it's gotten any better, and I feel like they should just focus on just reorganizing the kickboxing and MMA division again. You know? I'm sorry, the kickboxing and Muay Thai division again. Because back in, you know, just 2021, 2022? Was it also 2023? Maybe a bit of 2023. I felt like the one championship kickboxing and Muay Thai divisions were going on a hot streak, that they could go toe-to-toe with K1 and possibly Glory. Maybe in the smaller weight classes, maybe from straw weight, 125 pounds, this many kilograms, up to featherweight, 155 pounds, this many kilograms. But now they've just disregarded it, for lack of a better word, just so they can focus on doing MMA and focus on US events and US audiences. And to be honest, watching as a fan, I feel like their MMA hasn't gotten any better. And yeah, sure, you have the one Friday fights events, weekly basis, held in Lumpini Stadium in Thailand, but that's the feeder league held for local talent mostly. And someone like Iman Barlow would not be fighting in One Friday Fights, let's be honest. And yeah, it's just so unfortunate. And I hope that maybe when she announces her retirement, I hope that means her contract with One is void, although that seems unlikely because if there's anything to go by, when a UFC fighter announces their retirement, whenever they make a comeback, their contract is still owned by the UFC. So if she were to ever make a comeback, that means her contract would still be under One Championship. Anyway, I hope she finds a way to muscle out of that binding contract. It's disgusting what One Championship is doing. They're holding back a highly talented athlete who's in the prime of her career. You know, I could definitely see her succeeding in K1. Like, I know Barlow is a Muay Thai fighter, but she's fought both kickboxing and Muay Thai. So yeah, she could definitely do well, thrive in K1. You know, in Japan, K1 is coming back, and it's just so sad, you know. I remember when the news was announced back in late 2019 that Iman Barlow was signed, but waiting till 2022 until she had to make her debut. Oh man. And the fact that she had 2 fights in the span of 4 years, she was with the promotion, speaks volumes on how terrible One Championship is in handling elite fighters. Then the fact that Iman Barlow never got a chance to challenge for a title is also mind-blowing. You know, the opponents she fought, Daniela Lopez and Ekaterina Vandaryeva, like, no disrespect to them, it was like they were given to her as sacrificial lambs. Yes, I'm gonna put it that way. I thought that she should have faced somebody like Jackie Buntan, for instance. Somebody like Jackie Buntan is a former one strawweight Muay Thai title challenger. And I know despite only getting 2 wins, Iman Barlow should have faced Smila Sundel for the One Muay Thai strawweight world title. Yeah, she deserved that at the very least. But One screwed her over. You know, this is like Anissa Mexen 2.0. The situation, this is all a hot mess. And, you know, I guess the only people to blame in this are the One Championship matchmaking team and just One Championship itself. Yeah, eventually Chatri will have to address the situation. He's been avoiding it, I guess, for some time now, because like kickboxers, I feel so bad for the kickboxers and the Muay Thai fighters signed to the main roster. Like the superstars, they get preferential treatment. Maybe some people like Jonathan Haggerty, Rod Tang, Superlek, like they're fine with it. They're fine with getting like a few fights a year, maybe 1 fight a year, and they're comfortable, they're happy. But like, there are some fighters who would prefer that they get multiple fights a year. That's how they, that's how they stay mentally healthy. And I can empathize with that. But when One Championship does Iman Barlow like this, it just makes me upset, in a word. And it's so sad, man, because Iman Barlow is only 30. Heck, it's not like she's in the twilight of her career, you know. She has so much more potential to do great things in her fighting career, but she has to announce her retirement just so she can get out of her contract, just so she can not fight for One Championship anymore, because their contract is so binding. That's just, it's disgusting. So I hope she can make a comeback, preferably under a different promotion. And I hope she can win more titles, I guess. Do great things, still do great things. Yeah, I hope it's not too late for Iman Barlow. And yeah, I guess, yeah, that's all I have to say for today. Now, anyway, that's all I have to say. For those of you who made it this far, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. For those of you still watching, I wish you all a good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.